you may have already caught wind of the news already, but we are headed down to the tripod right now because the tripod has tipped. It has tipped over, and this is so exciting. Oh wow, they have barricades up and everything. There is some action. There's lots of people driving down to the river right now, so let me turn this around real quick. Actually, here, I'll just let you see. So it's all barricaded, so we're gonna have to go another direction, and then I'll just walk over to show you guys a little bit more up close. But that's what's going on right now. Kind of crazy. Yeah, I was in church when this happened, so we're just rushing over right now to see what happened and give you all the update. So, okay, yeah, we're gonna have to go in a different way, and then we'll get you all the updates. So hold on tight. This is a really, really exciting thing. Yeah, I did not expect for it to tip over today, but I think it's been such a slow melt that it's just gotten so so slushy. Like everything is just so slushy and soft. And if you've seen some of the pictures that have been put up, it's just like a big puddle right around the tripod. So a lot of melting happened probably throughout the night. I don't think it got below freezing, which is probably one huge reason why this is all happened. Oh, there it is. Okay, let me turn this camera around so you can see what we're looking at. There it is. Okay, so we gotta turn, okay, there we go. Now we got it all fixed. And we'll get you out there to look at it. Wowee. Okay, and there's like so many people here, all these cars. It's a real party on the river. So many people are excited. Okay, so let's take a look at this again. Okay, so there you see right there. It's tipped over this way. Its legs are sticking up that way. It looks like basically the whole top of it has just plunged straight through the ice. So it's not just like laying down on the ice. It's like it's really dropped through it. So who knows what's going to happen. It has not pulled the clock. The clock has not stopped yet. In order for that to happen, it has to pull 100 feet. So it doesn't matter if it falls, it doesn't matter even if it moves a little bit, it has to move 100 feet before it can, before it will stop the clock. So you can see the flags. Well, I don't know, maybe you can't. It's kind of hard, but like the flags are just sitting right here, super low. They're mostly on the ground all along across here. So that's one reason why they have it all blocked off over there, is so that people don't go and, you know, mess with any of the contraptions, any of the ropes that are hanging real low. But the flags are just coming up right onto the bank, and it's the flags that need to pull the clock to stop it. So we're still waiting for the tripod to actually move, and who knows how long that'll be, but surely a lot is softening up and nothing has moved, and that's kind of what we're waiting to happen. But even just since yesterday, you can see there's a lot more water reflecting from everywhere. A lot more water on the surfaces. Ooh, okay, look. Right here. This is open water. I can see it flowing underneath. So this whole patch right here is now an open section. And it kind of like continues over here. This, let's see, this is also an open section. Hey, Rebecca! Woo woo! I am so glad you're on here. Oh, can you not hear me? Hold on.
I got here. It's me.
Can you hear anything that I'm saying? Okay,
Yes.
good.
Can
I was
you
just
hear
about
me?
to have a heart attack saying that no one's been able to hear anything. Because I
Can you
realized I
hear
didn't have
me?
my earbuds in. Yeah, I can hear you. But let me get my
This is
earbuds in.
this is so fabulous. I'm so excited.
Yeah. This is where the action starts happening. Everyone gets so excited to see what happens for the rest of from here on out. I mean,
And
we're always
and
excited all the
Jerry
time,
is
no matter what,
just
but
on the edge of her
this is
seat.
it.
So can you tell if the tripod has moved downstream at all?
All right, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Now I got myself all plugged in. I can hear you can hear me, and we're good. Okay, so here's the question. Has the tripod actually moved downstream? So I was just speaking to this right before Rebecca jumped on, and the tripod has not actually moved anywhere besides just tipping. None of the ice has moved anywhere. So that's kind of what we're waiting for, is for some ice to actually move somewhere, because it has to move 100 feet before it will pull the cord to stop the clock. So that's why the clock hasn't stopped yet, and that's why the game is still on. If you still have guesses, then you're still in the running.
So the thing with the cord, right, is it has to pull tight and it has to
Mm-hmm.
pull up a counterweight, which is a big box of rocks, before it actually starts the mechanism to cut the rope to stop the clock. So it has to have that tightness on the rope before it can pull the clock stopped.
Yeah, thank
So
you for explaining that.
sometimes, like, so the tripod is fallen over. If there was open water and it was caught by some ice, it could pull the rope without actually pulling the tripod, and then the rope would pull the clock because the rope would go downstream with the ice, even though the tripod sits. So it's not only the tripod, it's kind of, it's all together.
Yeah, totally. There could be a whole combination of things that happen, and that's what's kind of crazy, is there are so many variables, and yeah, it's an adventure every year to see how it actually happens.
It is, and every year is so different. I was just telling my husband, sometimes the ice just kind of slides down the river and it's just kind of like a big sheet that goes out. And then sometimes it's all really
Uh-huh.
jumbly and there's great big pieces that, come up off the bottom and shoot out the top of the river. It's so exciting every single time. It's always different.
Yep, it sure is. And I was just pointing out to people that, like, everything out here is just so mushy. And there's definitely open water spots, like out here, this is open water. There is some open water down here, but it's just all really soft. There's
Yeah.
no huge push, there's no huge movement, no ice chunks have budged. So it's just, I think the ice layers are just really, really soft and thin right now. And you can even see out where, the tripod pad is, it's just all a big puddle.
Yeah. Do
Even
you
it
see
looks like
current?
I actually was gonna say it looks like there is current right behind it. Like
Right.
the big box right on the back there, it looks like some moving water. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, but I think it's also important to note that I talked to somebody in Fairbanks this morning and they say that the Chena has not really gone out yet, where it has all of the ice that
Mm.
comes down with all the water flow. And
Oh,
that
okay.
also sometimes is what we're waiting for because it raises the water level of the ice up and so that it all can go, because it kind of cracks everything apart when it gets all that water down there.
Yeah. Yep, and if there was a big push like that, it would certainly make a difference because it seems like this ice is soft, and if there was momentum and something to push it, it would crush up.
Yeah. Hey, did you see the question there?
I was just laughing at it. Let's read this out loud. Does anyone ever harvest this free-range, gluten-free ice from the wild? And if so, does it taste better than domesticated farmed ice? That
I
is a
have to say,
great question.
I have to say though, I think it would taste nasty because it would be full of silt and dirt.
My question back was going to be, would you like to try this ice? Because you're welcome to come out and try some of this homegrown free-range ice right here. There you go. This looks like a delicious patch.
Right? Get up that smoothie, baby.
Yep. Well, thank you all for telling us where you are, where you're watching from. There is people from all over the country, and I always look out for where our international people are. I grew up my life international, and so I love seeing how far this is reaching across the globe. And it doesn't matter if you're, from the U.S. or not. Everyone, we're so excited to see how far this is reaching. We've got people from Nenana watching this live stream. We've got people from Wasilla, Anchorage, Fairbanks, all over. And oh, Juneau I see as well. Yeah, super exciting.
That's cool. So
Okay,
Amy,
so
it's not
yeah,
just you standing there on the side of the river. There's 85 people there with you right here on this live stream watching this. It looks like a beautiful day.
it is a beautiful day, and we are joined by many other people who are here physically on the river as well. There's lots of cars. People are still driving in. You can see on the
Okay, wait,
street.
Amy. Amy, what's lots?
Yeah,
What's lots?
lots.
Is lots like 10 or is lots like 100?
How many? Oh, not 100, but I'll see how many cars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cars, and that's
Okay, so
probably
that's a
like
lot of
20
people then.
people. Yep.
All right, so that's a lot of people on the bank. I know sometimes I'd say a lot of people were there and there'd be like 5. But when it's a small town, right? That is a lot of people.
Yeah, seriously. And compared to the other times that I've been out here, I've been out here by myself. I've also been out here where there's 2 or 3 other people, but no more than that so far. And so this definitely has been the largest crowd on the riverbank at one time this season yet. So that's exciting, and it's telling you something because people have their eyes on the tripod today.
That's right. Have you been up around the corner where the railroad bridge is today?
You know what? I just came straight to the tripod because I wanted to show y'all the action since we didn't catch it right as it was happening. But Josh is up there. He's actually going to get some new drone footage.
Oh,
We
nice.
posted. I was telling Rebecca last night we had some complications with the drone footage, so we weren't able to live stream it as timely of a manner as we had anticipated. But he did post it on his mayor's page, which then I did share right before getting here. So you can see yesterday's drone footage if you go to the
That's
post. But
fabulous.
because so much has changed, he's out there getting new footage. Yesterday's is pretty much
Nice.
irrelevant. It's crazy.
I was talking to Jerry last night. She was like, "Wow, looking at that drone footage was so cool. I want to get a drone and do
Yeah.
that." And I told her, I said, "That's why those drone footage videos are so high data that you wouldn't be able to be there and send it to me so quick." So she has plans
Yeah.
already for next year to come up and help us out again. So woot woot for Jerry. Everybody give Jerry big love.
Yeah, that was definitely helpful to have someone tag teaming it because with having a family and just all sorts of stuff going on, I'm not always able to just hang out on the river all day every day, but I love being out here when I can get here, and it's super nice to just tag team it with people. So yeah, so this is what's going on. I was pointing out a little bit earlier, and maybe I'll just go up closer, but it's all barricaded since the ropes are hanging on the ground, so I'm sure that they don't want anything to accidentally happen by, someone tripping on the ropes and it pulls the clock. I mean, I think it would take a lot more than someone tripping on it, but they
Jerry,
they put the barricades up. So.
I was down there one year and we didn't really expect anything to happen. And the tripod moved like that. And those cable fell on top of my van. It was
Wow.
crazy. So we had to get it off the top and put it on the riverbank. But yeah, I don't know, really yanking on the cable isn't going to make that big of a deal. But,
Yeah.
they want to make sure it's safe for everybody too, because they don't want anybody to not know the cables are there and run into the cables or whatnot.
For sure. And also, I'm sure to reassure the players, everyone who has guesses that it's an entirely fair game, that there has been no meddling and no accidents and whatever. So you can
Right.
see how close the flags are. The cables are on the ground, the flags are hanging close to the ground, and then most of the way out to the tripod, the flags are just sitting on the ice, which is
Yeah.
totally normal. This happens all the time
But that
with
makes me sad because
yeah.
now we won't be able to hear them, while they're flapping around.
Yeah. That is a fun part. Okay, so I'm gonna try to step on this ice and see if I can get a little bit closer, but I might fall through. You never know.
Ah! We like those when you do that.
I think it was about 11:30 ish, right, Rebecca? Do you know? We
What
were
time
in
it
church
fell?
when it happened. Yeah, what time it fell?
I'm
We have
guessing
someone on.
about I'm guessing like maybe noonish.
Oh, right. I know you were texting me right before noon because I was still in church, and so
Yes,
I'm guessing right around 11:30.
okay, yeah.
So yeah, it's been a good hour and a half ish since it toppled, and I mean I'm assuming that it's kind of in the same position, that it hasn't really moved since then, but looks like it's a good topple.
But what it tells you though when it falls over like that is it tells you that the river current has come up through the gouges in the bottom of the ice that we put the tripod in, right? Otherwise it
Oh,
wouldn't topple
interesting.
over. It would still be sitting solid in the ice.
You
But
know, I
because
was
it fell
wondering about
over, it
that.
means that the legs are not solid in the ice anymore. So we know that the
Okay.
ice is melting out there and disintegrating. Otherwise, it would stay up balanced on the ice, right?
I'm so glad that you kind of understand the mechanism behind that, because I was seriously trying to figure it out in my head. Like, why would it topple if no ice is moving? Because those legs are set like 2 feet into the ice and frozen in. So it's not like it doesn't have good balance, or unless there's a
Right.
good
Well,
shove or something, it doesn't seem like it would tip, but that makes sense how you explained it.
right. So we know things are happening under the ice. And really, I don't think the ice is that thick. From what
Right.
I was seeing, what Jerry was showing as pieces come down, I don't think it's going to be a big chunky year. I think it's just going to be a year that kind of slides away because
Yeah, that's what
the
I'm
ice
gathering too.
with it being so hot, the ice is just rotten. So when the ice hits
Yep.
another chunk, they both just kind of fall apart. There's not really
Yeah.
any big force between them.
Yeah, it's more like a dissolving than a shoving and crackling and pushing.
Yeah.
Because some other years when I've watched, especially the year that I watched the Nenana go out, when ice does shove up against each other, it can either push and break, or it can just kind of if it's slushy on the side, then it just kind of makes this slushy sliding noise and just kind of scrapes the sides away. And
Right.
so that's definitely more of what it's looking like. I mean, you say the ice looks thin all over. Not some of these patches are puddles, but many of them are open flowing water. So to have that many patches where the ice is thin enough, um, and yet not chunky, like there's really not big chunks out here. like a layer of slush hanging out on top of the river.
Is there
I mean,
any
obviously there's I was just going to say, obviously there is enough bulk to hold the tripod in place. So it's not like it's all just one teeny slushy mess. There's for sure stuff holding it in place, but gosh, it's very rotten for sure. What were you going to say, Rebecca?
I wasn't saying anything, but you can
Okay.
remind them about our YouTube channel.
Yeah. So you can also find us on YouTube by the same name, Nenana Ice Classic fan page, and just the reminder that we are not affiliated in any official way with the Nenana Ice Classic. We are just diehard fans that love the river and love the Ice Classic and want people to be able to watch it with us. So we're just out here doing our thing for fun, and they do have their own channel that they started on Facebook this year. So definitely you can get official updates from them. But our YouTube channel, Nenana Ice Classic fan page, has a lot of really fun videos, some Q&A type quirky questions, a little bit more of the nitty gritty of what goes into the Ice Classic, what goes on behind the scenes, how the tickets are counted, just more of that inside look. And Rebecca had served on the board for how many years, Rebecca?
Oh, I don't know. It's about 3 or 4.
Yeah, so 3 or 4 years, and so she got a lot of just a lot of experience in watching and learning and absorbing so much information, and so she has a wealth of just super fun facts from behind the scenes, and a lot of that is on the YouTube channel. So if you go find us and subscribe, you can get updated for all those fun fact videos as well as the live views. The live footage as well.
Okay, we have a question here, Amy, for me and you. When it trips the clock, the water rushes the tripod and takes it down river. Well, sometimes, it'd be really easy to say, hey, the Ice Classic, it always goes the same thing, that the ice breaks, the tripod goes out. But what really happens is it's such a variable. Sometimes the tripod falls over like it did this year. Sometimes it stays up straight and sails away. Sometimes it goes over kind of just half tipped over instead of like a full fall over. And it would be great if we could give some specific answers of what exactly is going to happen, but there's so many variables that there's just different things that go on. So with this question, when it trips the clock, the water rushes the tripod and takes it down river. Well, sometimes all that water comes down from the Chena River in Fairbanks, and it brings with it a big rush of water, which picks up all the anchor ice. It's a big rush of water, and everything goes out in a big rush. But then other years, it just kind of slides away.
Yep. So there's definitely a lot of different ways that it can happen, and it's kind of less about when it trips the clock than the water pushes it. It's kind of the other way around. Like, whenever the tripod moves, however that happens, whether it's a rush of water, whether it's the chunk of ice that it happens to be still connected to gets dislodged and floats downriver and it's still upright sometimes, it can happen a lot of ways, but then however the tripod moves, that is what stops the clock. And even after it stops the clock, sometimes it still stays put. So it's not necessarily sailing downriver as soon as it trips the clock. It can stay put for a while after that, and it's all just kind of a crazy guessing game. That's why it's so fun.
I think that's a great point to say. Sometimes it stops the clock and it still sits there, because that really happens. If ice catches the rope, or it moves far enough but kind of gets jammed up there at the bridge where all the big ice pieces aren't moving, sometimes it might sit there for another day. And it's still so exciting, even if we're not, waiting for the clock to trip, is to watch all the ice go away, because really that is telling us, that's the beginning of spring for us, woohoo! The whole process is so exciting, not just the one point in time when the tripod stops the clock.
Yeah, totally. This is so much more representative of so many things in Nenana. Not only a fun game that people really enjoy, but it means spring is here, which means that's a big deal to not only us Nenanans, but us Alaskans, because it just means we survived a long, hard winter. And let me tell you, people are celebrating.
Right. Hey, I got this note here from Shelby. When we were in 2020, we were waiting for the tripod to go down, and the ropes were in the water, and we probably waited for 2 hours or something for the rope to catch and for the wire to stop the clock. Every piece that came by, we were like, "Yes, this is it. It's going to catch it," but it didn't. It just took forever.
Yeah. Yep. Just the anticipation, the variability, like all of it. It's so much fun to see how it all plays out. There's another one here. Oh, I see you brought one. So it says, flew up yesterday to see the breakup Bethel to Nenana, 3.5 hours. Nice. There's another one from Brian. He says, in 1995, a chunk of ice caught the rope and stopped the clock with the tripod still standing. See, that is exactly what we were just talking about. It's happened before. It can definitely happen again, although I would bet you not this year because this is slushy ice. But who knows? I mean, I could definitely eat those words.
Right. Have you ever heard of the tripod sinking?
Like just sinking without going down river?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I
haven't either. Somebody asked me that, and I know sometimes it sinks a little bit in the ice.
Yeah, even right now,
you know, as it kind of falls through the ice.
Yeah, the top half of the tripod is underwater right now, but it's still on top. You know, I mean, the legs are poking through the ice.
I think that question is pretty interesting, though, because I don't think people maybe don't understand what the tripod is made out of.
Yeah, go ahead and elaborate on that.
The tripod is made out of trees. It's made out of, I think, 9 different trees. So it's all wood. It's very heavy. And it's trees that are cut down right there around Nenana. So it's all locally made. So when the tripod falls over, it doesn't necessarily sink because it's wood. So like other trees, it would float down the river. And many, many times the tripod is found downriver. We have some photos where somebody found a whole tripod and put it up in their garden. And then I have some photos of some other bits and pieces on the riverbank. There's a lot of times the flags are found because, you know, the little tiny flags, because those are really easy to spot with the colors. I have the 2020 flag, the big flag off the top of the tripod. So that's pretty awesome. But most of the time the tripod just goes down the river, down the river, as they say. Who knows what happens to it? It's gone. We don't retrieve it. We don't reuse it. We don't set it up again. They just make a new one.
Yep, totally. Thanks for explaining that. Because, yeah, wood floats. I mean, it is heavy for sure, but it's still a tree. It floats downriver, and it won't necessarily have the density to sink to the bottom of the river.
Have you been up to 10th Street at all?
I haven't since since Nenana pretty much went all the way out. I haven't been there since then, just because everyone wants to see what's going on, and nothing has really changed up there. But I could if you want to go see what's going on up there.
No, I was just wondering. It's kind of like old news now.
Right, exactly. Yep. So you know what? It is a big deal when the breakup is happening on the Nenana. But after that, it's all kind of like, okay, it's open and it all kind of looks the same. So that's why I figured I would just let it go for now. Although I will tell you, downriver on the other side of the highway bridge, it has continued to open up more and more. And so I've been keeping an eye on that. Every time we drive across the bridge, I've tried to catch, either videos or photos or just keep tabs on what's going on down there. And I know you can't see it in the video, but with my eyes, I can see the edge. I mean, that shows you how much open water there is, because you can see kind of where the dark spots are and where it's still snowy. So
yeah. That's one thing I noticed when I was up there talking is you have to tell people what you see because through the
Mm-hmm.
video you can't really see it. And if through the video everything looks so small and close together, but I don't know if people know that the tripod is 30 feet tall basically, and it's 100 feet out on the river. No, 300 feet out on the river. So I mean, it seems like we can just look at it right over there, but it's really far away. And the river itself is about 900 feet across. So when you are looking only to where the tripod is, you're only looking at a third of the river. But when you're standing there looking across the river, it seems like it's not very big, but it's a really, really big, wide river right there. Um, yeah, so when you look at the pictures, it's just kind of crazy. It seems kind of small and like you could just reach out there and touch it. And you know what? That always surprises me when I get the pictures of the tripod when people are going across the bridge and you can see where the tripod is in relation to the rest of the river. Oh, the videos with the guy in the airplane also really shows you how wide across the river is right there. So, we get all excited about seeing the little pieces near the tripod because those are the ones we can easily see, but there's a lot of river there.
Yeah, sorry, I had to step out just for a second, but thanks for
No problem.
having, I love hearing you elaborate on all sorts of stuff because it's really fun to hear kind of the backstories or just the other details that we don't necessarily see on the river right here.
Hey, Amy, I told you there was a guy who would tell me jokes. Okay, so here's his next question. Are there any interesting side bets like the Super Bowl has? Maybe what happens first, the tripod tips over, or you get a mosquito bite during a live stream?
You know what? I am glad that I have not gotten a mosquito bite yet. Let me tell you, people talk about it when we see our first mosquitoes. It's like, okay, spring is here, but it's like kind of that sinking feeling. Everyone's like, oh, the mosquitoes are back. And thankfully it hasn't happened yet this year, and I hope it won't while I'm doing a live, but that is another hilarious question. And maybe we should start something like that. Should we do something like that on the fan page, Rebecca?
That would be awesome. I do know of a few people. I don't know if it's like in a bar or something, but I have seen some posts of a few people who they run a minute pool, and so you can bet on a minute. I don't know. Sometimes it's a 50-50 or that, but yes, there are little side games that people play. Not any that we've been playing
Yeah.
here. Not any even that I know of. I don't think it's in Nenana, but I'm sure people play their own side games all the time. That would be fabulous to do that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely not an official thing at all, but we would that could be something real fun that we could pull out some of those games or just fun questions like that for future seasons.
Yeah. Well, Jerry wants you to know that she got 2 mosquito bites yesterday down there in Palmer. So,
Oh man. Yep, they're out and it's that time of year, but I'm just enjoying the lack of them as long as I can until they come out full force. I don't know if people realize really how crazy the mosquitoes get here in Nenana and just in Alaska in general cuz I tell this story to people because when I grew up in Asia and spent some time, 3 years in Thailand as a high schooler. I went to school there with my family for my dad's job. And so later, when my husband and I were dating, before we got married, um, he was like, well, the mosquitoes are pretty bad in Nenana. And I was like, oh, trust me. Like, I've been in Southeast Asia, Thailand, there's tons of mosquitoes. Don't worry. I know mosquitoes. Like, I'm sure it can't be that bad. And he's like, well, I mean, I've never been to Thailand. I don't know what they're like there, but they're pretty bad here. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, we'll just see. But in my head, I was like, nah, like it can't compare to Southeast Asia. Well, so to we get back to our house after our wedding and after our honeymoon, and we're pulling up in our car. We have all our luggage and everything. And we get out of the car, and all of a sudden, this huge swarm of mosquitoes immediately envelops us in the car. And we had to run our luggage in, like, jump out of the car, grab a piece, run inside, slam the door, like, what the heck is going on?
I've been there.
Yeah,
Oh
see, and that is
yes.
not
And they're
a unique
still on you.
experience.
And then yes, and if you spend any time outside, they start crawling up your pant legs, and they go in the sleeves of your shirt, and they go down your collars.
Seriously, I had no idea. And my husband was not kidding when he said there's something else up here. And gosh, I was not prepared for that. And that was a crazy introduction to the Nenana mosquitoes. But like I said before, that is not a unique experience. Stuff like that is common. That happens all the time. That's just how the
Oh yeah.
mosquitoes are here. So it's nuts. That's why you have the stomach drop when you see the first mosquito out of the season.
Oh no. Yeah. So here's a question. Don't ships come up and down the river? Not sure how big. Well, they used to come up and down the river when I think before there was a lot of more airplane flights, things were really dependent on the river and the barges going up and down the river. Now the barges go sometimes in the river, but it's nothing like it used to be before there was airplanes.
Yeah, and there still, I mean, there still are barges that come up and down river, just not necessarily to the Nenana town site. This right here is actually a barging dock, and it used to be contracted through Crowley, but they left this dock. I won't say how many years ago because I'll get it wrong, but a few years ago, they
Yeah, it's been like 10.
yeah, something like that. I know it was, yeah, close to that. But right around the bend of this river, there's another barging company called Ruby Marine, and they still have an active, thriving barging business. So they do coming up. The barges do come up and down the river, just not on this section of the
Oh,
river.
okay.
So,
Well, that's probably why I didn't see them.
yep.
They do ship a lot of groceries on the barge to people who shop for a year at a
Yeah.
time downriver. They send a lot of building supplies. They send things like four-wheelers and snow machines on the barges. They do haul a lot of fuel.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
So
much so. So,
there's a lot of little river boats that go up and down the river here
oh, that's fun.
as well. I mean, here in front of you, there's a lot of river boats that go up and down.
Washington. Yeah, yeah. So people have their recreational boats, or even for hunting or subsisting. There's definitely boats that come up and down. There's even races. There's some competitions that come through here on the summertime. So every once in a while you will see a river boat coming up and down, or a motorboat, something like that for fun. So we do have a question. How long does it usually take from the time it tips to the time it trips the clock? That is is a good question, but there is no answer. There's no answer for that.
Yeah, I think usually though when it tips, even there's a little bit more open water around there, so it's kind of hard to have an answer for that because every year is just so different.
Yep.
So like from when the time the Nenana goes out, usually it takes 7 to 10-ish days for this river to go
Right.
out, and the Nenana went out, I would say it was probably fully open by Tuesday morning.
And it was last Sunday.
Night.
Yeah, it was last Sunday, so a week ago, that it did open up, as far as like it had at least one full channel going all the way out.
Right.
And then, like you were saying, it definitely widened over the next few days, and for sure by Tuesday it was all the way open.
Right.
So we're looking at a week right now. It's hit that 7-day mark.
And then the next thing that usually happens is we usually need that rush of water from Fairbanks, and then it happens in about 24 hours that ours will go out. But I mean, when you say usually, you can mean like happened that way before, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen now.
Exactly. And there's different things that can tip the tripod. So that's the other thing, is just because it tips doesn't mean it is ready to go out, or that it's moving even. Like this, this instance, the tripod hasn't actually moved. No ice chunks have moved. It just, it looks like it just got soft enough that it lost balance. And so that's more what we're looking at here. And that's why it's so unpredictable, and why we really can't say, how long does it usually take, because there's still so many factors at play. You really can't make those calls. Although I'm seeing, for the first time this whole season, I just witnessed a chunk of ice flow through this open section, and crash into some other pieces and get sucked under. So that's
Nice.
exciting.
Well, just remember, all those pieces that get sucked under, they come up somewhere. And if it happens to come up under some ice, maybe it'll punch another hole in it.
Exactly. So I know Jerry has seen some of that already, because she's been keeping a closer eye on the open water upriver, but I hadn't seen that yet. So this is exciting to me that was the first chunk I saw that was actually moving and crashing and sinking. It wasn't big, don't worry. But hey, like the first time you see it, it's exciting, because that means that stuff is moving, and more of that is going to continue to happen.
I don't know if it's only the first time you see it, though. I think every time I see it,
oh, for sure. Yeah, that is what is so exciting, is because every single piece, it never gets old. But to have it be the first of the season, it's like, yes, okay, it's happening. This is really happy. So we have a question.
So, hey, Amy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, you should mention your YouTube page.
Oh, thanks. Sure. So I have a really, really fun channel that I just started last summer, actually, and it's called Our Crazy Alaskan Life. And it just features kind of like life in Nenana, as well as life across Alaska. My husband and boys and I love to travel, so we just go around doing all sorts of adventurous, fun things. And so I like to capture that in video, to be able to show people the fun and the joy and the quirks of Alaska and Nenana. So you can find me, Our Crazy Alaskan Life. That's like I said, it's kind of a budding YouTube channel, so there's not so much on there yet, but we do have one about ice fishing. If you're interested about, what do we do in the wintertime, I have a video about ice fishing. I have a video of us going to an off-the-grid cabin. We took a river ride. We're talking about the boats that go up and down the river. We rode our riverboat up to...
And the moose in your yard.
Yes, the moose too. I was so bummed about that one, because it didn't catch part of the best part. So like right at the very end, when I thought that I was capturing it, I wasn't. But it's still, even just that part about the moose being out there, honestly, it does not happen very often, because our house happens to sit between the highway and the railroad tracks. And so there's not a lot of wildlife that makes it into our section of the neighborhood. And so honestly, to see a moose right out my kitchen window, and then to go out and see it when I was standing in the driveway, was super exciting. And it doesn't matter how many times you see wildlife, it's still exciting. But yeah, thanks for giving me that shout out. I would love to have people, if you're interested, what Alaskan life is like. We took a trip down to Seward. We took a trip down to Anchorage. And so there's just some really fun stuff to see across Alaska and even across the world, because we are world travelers, and I just love to show people the joys of traveling wherever we're at. So go ahead and find me, check them out. You can subscribe, and you can also let me know what you want to see around Nenana. I'll take you on a tour. Just let me know.
That would be fabulous. I did have somebody say they really wanted to see a tour of Nenana because they moved away in the 80s.
Ooh.
And they wanted to know if it was still the same. I looked back through some of the videos I had done, and I did have a tour, sort of. So I sent her that link. But yeah, that would be really great because then we could share that around here too. I know people kind of have a hard time seeing when, we drive around to different spots and we talk about 10th Street and we talk about Fish Camp, but unless you kind of
Yep.
know what Nenana
Yeah.
looks like, that doesn't really mean anything. So it would be really good to have something like that.
Yeah, totally. I was even just thinking the other day that we should put together a map and like put stars on the places where we go to watch the ice and where the broadcasts happen, just so that when we're saying, hey, we're at this section of the river, people can visualize where we're at.
Right. Well, maybe we'll put that up on our own website sometime when we get that up and
running. And even just a post on our Facebook page, and it'll probably get buried with all the posts that we have. Or maybe we could just pin it. That would be nice to have, just to be able to orient people.
So a note on our Facebook page, the last 6 weeks or so, it's so busy. We put out so much information. If you're just waiting for a post to come across your phone, you're going to miss them because there's just, I don't know, something like 200 posts I've made or something, but they're all very, very informational. So if you go to the page, actually click on our page name and go scroll through our Facebook page, you will get a lot of information that you may have otherwise missed.
Yep, totally. There is a lot of really, really great content. And Rebecca is, she's the one that does the behind the scenes, which really are the scenes. So I don't even like saying behind the scenes because seriously, like she has got all the good juju
and
going on.
And look at me now. I'm actually on the scene again. It's so awesome that I actually get to be here and talk with you and experience this with you right on the river because I am no less obsessed than I ever was. Maybe I'm probably more than I used to be.
Yeah, and it just grows and grows, honestly. It's so much fun. I had a quick request to show upstream and downstream, please. So here you go. This is upriver. Here we are at this is the railroad bridge. And downriver, this is the full sweep of this section right here. Lots and lots of open patches, lots and lots of rotting sections. And here is the tripod that has tipped over. You can see the flags laying on the ground. Coming up, here's the highway bridge, and then the open water on the other side of the highway bridge from the mouth of the Nenana. Here are the ropes and the barricades that have been put out in order to protect the ropes and the whole area. There's the clock tower, and it's all set up. So there's the full sweep of this point of the river. And yeah.
Okay, while you're talking about the clock tower, let me talk real quick about the clock.
Sure, go ahead.
The clock that is in the clock tower was brought up 50, 60 years ago. And that's like when the roads were getting started and the railroad was getting started. So, this clock was quite a journey to get up there, a fancy, fancy clock. And this clock is only used for this with the Ice Classic. And there's a guy in Nenana who cleaned the clock this year. And he cleaned the clock and he cleaned all the mechanisms and make sure that it ticks and it starts and it stops. And that is so amazing that our little town in Nenana has somebody who's trained and able to do that and wants to do it. I just think that's great. So shout out to Art for doing that. Also, as a reminder, the tripod clock is in Alaska Standard Time, which is an hour behind Nenana time. The reason for that is there used to be like 4 different time zones in Alaska. And so people were confused as to what time it actually was in. So the Nenana Ice Classic board at that time said, hey, we're going to put it in Alaska Standard Time. That way everybody knows it's Alaska Standard Time. Now it gets kind of confusing with the daylight savings time, but the board has talked about it frequently. Probably they talk about it every 2 or 3 years. Do we need to change? Do we need to change? They just say there's no reason to change it. That's the way it is. That's the way it's been. If we change it now, it's just going to be confusing. Right. So, I mean, if they ever get rid of daylight savings time, maybe they'll change it if then we're totally always in daylight savings time. But the way that I've always remembered it is the tripod is like out of every 25 years, right? It's put up when we're not in daylight savings time. So it's put up in Alaska Standard Time. Then I just say everybody else, we spring forward, but the tripod stays put. So it stays in Alaska Standard Time, even though we all go to daylight savings time.
Yeah, thank you for laying that out so clearly. And yeah, it would be really interesting to see if we do actually end up getting rid of daylight saving time. I know there's been talk of it in the legislature.
Always.
Yeah, so who knows if it'll happen for real or if it's still just a talking point. But yeah, for now, the tripod clock stays put, and that's a great way to remember it. Everyone else springs forward, and the tripod stays put.
That's right. So it always brings up a lot of conversation and confusion about your ticket. So your ticket has to match the clock.
Mm-hmm.
The clock is 1 hour behind Nenana, but it matches the ticket. So the ticket and the clock match, but your watch is 1 hour ahead.
Yep. Yeah, and so I think sometimes people freak out like, oh no, then I guess I probably made my guess wrong or something like that. But if you were using your guess time based off of the past, the past data, other years that the tripod has gone out, all the historical times, those are all the times that the tripod has gone out in Alaska Standard Time. So don't freak out. I mean, if you're choosing the time just for fun or, someone's birthday, then sure, the time, it doesn't matter because that's just a fun guess. But if you're making your guesses based off of the past data, then you did make your guess with the right time zone in mind. So don't worry about that.
Right. And always as a reminder, it says on the ticket and it says on the brochures that all the guesses are in Alaska Standard Time.
Yep. So
it's that small print though,
right,
which none of us like to read.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm seeing something really interesting right here. Right here, this ice just kind of bubbled up. I saw some bubbling going on a little bit, and then that ice chunk just popped out. So this is literally just happening right now as I am watching that these changes are happening. So
Amy, did we find out if you could zoom in or not?
I wish I could. I did try yesterday, and this mechanism doesn't work. So yeah. I wish it did.
Well, I like to remind people that, no matter how much technology we can have available to us, we're pretty limited by what's available in Nenana. Yeah. With the internet that's there is spotty sometimes, and it's not high speed, and it's really hard to upload files. So I kind of just always shrug and say, well, I'm just a lady on the river with a cell phone. I mean, that's really all we have up there. It's just a cell phone on the side of the river. So. Yep.
And you would not believe the amount of racking our brains Rebecca and I have done in order to get truly live feeds to you guys. We've done some shenanigans in the background to be able to even carry this broadcast. So I'm pretty excited that we're even able to do this much live broadcasting for you guys. Because, yep, you just got to make do with what you have here. And it's actually to our advantage that Rebecca is out of state and has access to higher internet speeds in order to help carry this broadcast.
And we have such a good time together. Amy and I just work together, just so fabulous. And yeah, all of the social media stuff that you see online, all the posts, all the informational posts, that's what I'm doing out here in Washington. Even though I would love to be up there on the riverbank. And then I call Amy, all caps, Amy, the tripod fell over, yep. and it's great to have us both working on it. And I have to just give out a huge shout out to Jerry. She's just another fan that drives up from Anchorage on her vacation just to come up and experience this, this snow melt. and she just does it out of the goodness of her heart. And she just did a great job driving around, giving me short little videos. I just can't even say enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Jerry, for spending your time in Nenana.
Yeah, and she's a really good example of how much excitement this brings. I know she brings a lot of joy and passion, and I mean, this is really how us diehard fans are. We just love it so much. We can't keep ourselves away from the river, and so, you know, like Rebecca was saying, she drove all the way up from Anchorage just because she wanted to see it. She wanted to be here and catch the action. So it's fun when we get to.
It was super fun for her.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first year that she ever got to spend some extended time there on the river. Usually she's only there for a day or two. And so I really walked her through watching. What was she watching for, and what did the things that she was seeing mean? And she said, yeah, I'm coming back next year. So she's already got that in the works. So we can look for Jerry's enthusiasm and funniness next year. We'll have to tell her to keep her pants on again. When I sent her a message that the tripod fell over, she said she jumped up out of her chair screaming. So I'm sure you know Jerry. She would do that.
Yep. It's so fun, and yeah, it's just an exciting time to be out here on the river. And you know what? We love it when we get to meet our fans. So and it's not our fans, you know, it's the fans of the Ice Classic. And so if any of you end up traveling to Nenana at some point, like, send us a message. Let us know you're here. It would be so fun to connect. And it's always kind of surreal to be able to come see the river and see Nenana if you've only watched the live streams or, you know, only seen it from afar. But we invite and welcome everyone. Come up here. Every summer when they construct a new tripod, that happens in June, and they have the next year's tripod up on display, just right over next to the clock tower. They have it standing right here, so you can come see the actual tripod that they will put on the river the next winter. If you happen to come through in the summertime on an Alaskan tour, it's here. You can come see all this stuff. So just give us a shout out if any of you end up traveling to Nenana.
That's right. And if you take your photo with the tripod and you send it to me, you tag me in it somehow, you make it sure that I can see it, I will share it, because you know what, we are all just a big fan page, and I love seeing others' excitement about the tripod.
Yeah. Yep. Totally. So Veronica says, people don't realize how long our winters are. We had record-breaking snow this year, and we are all so ready for spring. Yes, amen. Oh man, like, seriously, Alaskan winters are intense, and it's just such a different experience from other places across the United States. And, you know, we can have our first snowfalls in September. Snow is usually sticking on the ground by October. Temperatures can drop to the -20s by November, and it just stays that way the whole. I mean, it doesn't stay at -20, but once the snow is on,
so it gets colder.
Yeah, it can get to -20, 30, 40, 50 below even sometimes. And that is the reality of our winters. And it does not, like, there is no reprieve until usually March at the very earliest is when you start to get those, right, you know, nicer temperatures, either in the 20s or 30s. Sometimes you can get 20s in February, but usually you're looking at all the way until March. And so if you can imagine, from October, November, December, January, February, March, that's 6 months of hard winter. That's 6 months of hard winter.
Right.
And then you still have the snow fly before and the breakup after that is still often hovering around freezing or in the 40s, which is still uncomfortable. Right. So like, you're looking at, by that time, you're looking at 8 months of winter, and you don't have much time in the warmth. And conversely, the summers are also insanely intense, because the seasons flip so quickly. You know, we were talking the other day about, you know, when the green leaves appear, it literally happens within a week. Like all of this hill will turn green within 1 week.
I was just going to ask you about that. Have you seen any sheen on it at
You know,
all?
so I was talking about that with Josh too, and it's looking like at this point it's still just the dead trees. That, you know, obviously they're still alive, but it's just empty branches for now. I thought that there was a little green
Okay.
haze, and maybe even in the camera it looks like there's a little green haze, but he was telling me that I don't think it's the green leaves yet. It's probably just
Oh, well, you'll
yeah,
know.
yeah, you'll know. And so as soon as as soon as we start seeing that come out, I will grab some pictures and maybe do even a live feed so you guys can witness truly how fast it happens. And then once the green is out,
Well, you know,
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so here in Washington, our leaves came out about 2 weeks ago. And I was thinking about that usually in Alaska, I remember it was about the 1st of May. However, it's even later than that this
Right,
year.
because it depends on the breakup season. It depends on the warming up. And this year we're having a late season. And so everything is just pushed back a little bit. But I was just about to elaborate too. Once the leaves come out and it switches into summer, I mean, really, spring is such a short season, and it just goes into full flung summer so quickly. And we have the 24-hour sunlight, and everything just grows like crazy. It is such a fast paced summer that, and it's the only time when you can do all your outside construction or home improvement projects or yard projects. And so it's a mad dash every summer to get it all in before the snow starts flying in September again.
What is your daylight hours there right now? Do you know?
So it's been right around 17 hours of daylight, and it could be getting closer to 18 now. So
wow. So it's like, what did I see? The sun setting at like 10:45 now?
Yep, that's about when it goes down. And of course, that is talking about sunset, not light, because it still remains light a little bit after the sun is set. So we're looking at 11:30, 11:45, like really close to midnight before it actually gets all the way dark. And it's just
well, think
crazy.
About it. You're only 6 weeks from the solstice.
Exactly. So it happens fast. And
wow.
Yeah, it definitely happens fast and it stays. So the other thing is the sunrises, you know, the light begins before sunrise actually happens. And sunrise right now is a little bit after 5 a.m. But that means that it starts to get light like 4 in the morning, so maybe 4:30. It's just nuts. It's a whole different life up here.
Yeah.
So yeah, for anyone who's just
I
was just gonna say, anyone who's just tuning in, the tripod has fallen over, but it has not stopped the clock. So the tripod is not actually moved. It's just fallen over and it's staying put for now.
Yeah, and if you guys want to know what else is happening right now while we're all standing around watching the ice melt, you know, all of the workers are processing the tickets.
And well, yeah, go ahead and I'll give you an update on that too.
Go ahead.
Because I got the update just a couple days ago that they have actually finished ahead of time this year. This is one of the few years.
They must have worked hard.
Yep, this is one of the few years that they have the ticket counting done and completed before the tripod has gone out. So that's a huge thing, huge deal.
That's really exciting because then when the ice goes out, they'll be able to announce the winners fairly quickly because they'll just do some checking of the tickets to make sure the tickets are you know, accurate and actually match and there's nothing wrong with the tickets. I mean, we're assuming by this point that's true since it's gone through the whole process, but they'll do one final check.
Yep. Yeah, so that's one thing that I really appreciated about I got the chance to be a part of the ticket counting last year, and I got to see not only the intricacy of how they do it all, but the care that they take for it. They really take your tickets seriously. They are well cared for. It's all checked and rechecked and triple checked, and they want to make sure that every ticket is carefully handled, carefully recorded, carefully sorted, everything. So that was really cool for me
Yes,
to see.
and once they come into the Nenana Ice Classic's possession, they are under guard. They're
Mm,
never left
mm-hmm.
alone for anybody to come in and slip in a ticket or anything. They're all under, actual eye guard, not just camera guard.
Yep.
So I think that's super awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, I was saying if you want to know about that process, there is a video up on the Facebook page, and I did put it up on the YouTube page as well about the ticket processing, what happens, because it's all done by hand, and it's a pretty intense process, and it's just amazing that they can go through it so fast when you consider they're processing, maybe 200,000
Yeah,
tickets.
seriously. That is the amazing thing, is the magnitude that this is. This is across the world. This is a worldwide thing. And there are a lot of tickets, and it is all done by hand and very carefully and meticulously. So it is quite an operation. And it's amazing to witness that behind the scenes. So I'm really, really glad that you were able to do a video about that, give our fans and people across the world a back behind the scenes look into what goes on with the tickets and how they're counted. It's super, super fascinating.
Yeah. Um, as a side note to that, all of your guesses are also kept in record. They do make a great big book called the Book of Guesses,
Mm-hmm.
and that book is kept forever. All the guesses are printed up in that, even all the mismarked tickets and all the illegible tickets, they're all recorded. And we have that as a YouTube video also about how they make that book. It's a huge book. It's like 1,500 pages.
Yep. And
And
it's handmade.
I wish I had one. So if anybody has an old one, let me know, because I'd really, really like to have one. Yes, it's all handmade. Like they used to make books, like 100 years ago, making books. I mean, it's huge
Yeah,
process.
so if you can go onto the our YouTube channel and find that, it's called, something like the old-fashioned bookmaking process. And honestly, I learned a ton about it as I was going through and doing the research and asking the questions and capturing the photos and the footage to put that video together. It was really fun to learn all that stuff. So go find that video. You'll learn all about how the guesses are compiled, and even some of the
Yeah.
quirky pages at the beginning, or I guess more towards the end. Did you guys know that every single year there is a whole section of all the guesses that people made for April 31st, which doesn't exist, by the way?
Yes. Yes, there is.
But they and
Also,
they
a
record
quick
those. They
note.
are recorded and they are in the book of guesses.
That's right. So a quick note here, seeing the handwriting on just the tickets me and my family got. Oh boy, do I appreciate the ticket
Yes.
recorders. Okay, so
Yes.
here's a quick tip. You can print out labels like on your computer, print out your address labels, and you can affix those to your ticket. Just make sure it has your name, your mailing address, and your phone number on it. And then you can affix that to the ticket instead of writing out, like Jerry did 472 times, your name and address. But don't forget, though, you got to put your guests by hand on your ticket.
That's good to know. And yes, I will echo that shout out to the ticket recorders. There is definitely some deciphering that goes on with that, and you got to hand it to them. They do their best, and I got to experience a little bit of that last year, as you know, uh, checking and rechecking and trying to interpret some of those
Yeah,
handwritings.
Sherry, the previous manager, always did a really good job, and I'm sure Megan will
Hmm.
too. They really want people to play, and they really want all the guesses to count. So they really do the most that they can to decipher the tickets. They'll even They'll even call people and ask them what their ticket guess was, just because they just really want to know. I mean, they're not trying to throw any tickets in the mismarked bucket.
Yep. Yep. And I witnessed that firsthand too. There really is a lot of care to do our best to make sure we've got the right guesses, and to not, and really, like, they really don't want to throw any tickets out or put them in the mismarked bucket. So it's really neat to see just the whole culture of the Ice Classic and how much care they really do take to making sure it's done very properly, very professionally, very thoroughly, and securely. So, yeah. Here we go. We got someone's guess, 11:50 a.m. tomorrow. Good luck. It's really fun to to see people's guesses, and you never know what's going to happen.
I also want to make a point, Amy, that even though you can guess to watch the ice, you certainly don't have to guess to watch the ice. I am of the persuasion that I don't usually buy tickets for myself. So I am this excited without having anything on the line. But as I told you, our friend Jerry, she has 470 some tickets that she's a part of. So, I mean, I don't want people to think if they can't afford some tickets, they can't be excited, they can't watch, because that is not what this is about. I mean, that's a super bonus to break up that is there, and that's exciting. But man, we just like to watch all the changes, watching summer come.
Yeah, totally. Just fun fact, last year was my first time to ever make a guess. My husband and I decided to jump in last year, and previous to that, I super enjoyed going out to the river and watching it all happen, and I never had tickets. So it can be just as exciting either way, although I will say that it honestly does add to the excitement and anticipation when you do have tickets in the running, especially when they're as close to breakup. Like, when you get them really, really close, it's super exciting.
Yeah. Well, in 2020, I was talking with this guy, I think his name is Kyle, and it was his first year guessing, and he won his first year guessing. And he's like, I don't know if I can play anymore, because then I'll ruin my streak. I'll play twice and only win 50% of the time.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'd say that's a good, fun story to have. And yeah, I might do the same thing if that happened to me too. But we'll see. We have tickets in the running this year, and our tickets last until tomorrow. So that's what our family is. Okay. We have tickets today and tickets tomorrow. So it's exciting when.
Can you give us an update? Can you give us an update on what the tripod clock time is right now?
So right now it would be 12:59 on the tripod clock.
12:59.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep. So that will give you an idea, whichever time zone you're sitting at. Now you know what time the tripod is at. So 12:59, and you can just make note of whatever the time difference between now and wherever you're at.
Right. All right. You see any more bubbling or anything going on around
I was
there?
just looking for that. And just in this section over here where I saw the bubbling and the bubbling and the chunk come up before, it's still bubbling. And I don't exactly know why that happens or how. I mean, perhaps there's still some ice underneath and the water is bubbling up through the ice. I don't know. It's kind of a crazy phenomenon to watch, that it really just looks like it's bubbling up from underneath. Because it's not a flow. It's different than a flow. It's literally just like this bubbling up.
I remember seeing bubbles too, but I don't know exactly what causes the bubbles. Like, I'm sure things are moving down there, but I don't know that there's any like ice, like air trapped under there, or I don't know. That's a good question. You should maybe ask Olaf or
Yeah.
Or maybe one of the watchmen, one of the guys that's been there for a while, they might know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would.
I would say ask Dennis, but
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely miss
I
him.
miss Dennis.
Yeah, for sure. Well, these sections back here, these ones are flowing. I can see the current. So, back here as well, this section has some flow to it. And I think it looks like even these sections right here have gotten a little more wet, even just since being there. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I'm just making stuff up, but honestly, it seems like it's it's dissolving more and more. Even
Well,
even right here.
yeah, the water is just going to seep up into the snow is what's happening.
Yeah. Right here, I can see a little bit of flow. I wouldn't necessarily say that it is open water per se, but I do see some flow right there. And it, yeah, I think there's more flow now than when I got here an hour ago. I can see a lot of patches that are
You,
showing that now.
it's really cool though, because looking at the water, it's blue from the sky reflecting on
Mm-hmm.
it. So that's really awesome. We can totally see where the water is.
Yep. Yep. Man, this is the crazy part because I'm here thinking, okay, we've been here for an hour, nothing is happening as far as I mean, definitely there's stuff happening like I'm pointing to out in the river, but as far as the tripod is not going anywhere. It hasn't moved. And I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, so is it time to go home and get some lunch or take a break? Are people getting bored on the live feed? And then I'm like, dude, now is not the time to leave because anything can happen. That's the crazy part about
Amy,
this point of the season.
I felt that for hours on the river. I was like, I can't even go to the bathroom because something is going to happen when I leave.
Yup.
Right? Because that's all it takes. I mean, the tripod could just go bloop and be under the water.
Yup. And that's the reality of this part of the season is it can all happen so fast and completely unexpectedly. Like, guys, I don't know who of you, in fact, here, pop it in the chat. Who of you were watching the breakup last season? Because I was out here on the river almost the entire day, the morning into the afternoon and the evening of. Like, Rebecca had invited me to start doing the live broadcasts. And so I took everyone out out past this section, right around the bend. That was the first open water that we had spotted of the season, and that was the morning of. And I was doing the updates up here. Then we showed people a little bit down here. Um, there
And it was like this. It was pretty solid.
yeah, there was no movement as far as people were saying there's nowhere for the ice to go. It's going to be at least another day. And after being out here for so many hours, I thought, all right, well, we'll call it a night. And it was within like 40 minutes of going home that the tripod
Yes.
went out. And I was like, what the heck? I was out here all day.
Okay, so this is a time that we have to put in our no guarantee policy.
Yes, yes.
We come out to the river, we watch, we wait, we watch the webcam, but we have no guarantee that we will watch the ice go out. But as soon as we hear that it went out, we will rush down for sure. But we're not paid to sit on the
Yep.
riverbank. We're just volunteers, and we love doing this. But sorry, can't guarantee we'll watch it when it goes out.
Yep. So we do our best, and it's so exciting. I definitely want to be here when it goes out, but you can't really. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I could just camp out on the river 24/7 for 3 days, but I'm not in a point in my life
Well,
to
I'll tell you
do
what,
that.
Amy.
What was that?
I'll tell you what, Amy, if I'm ever make it back up there for breakup, I will be there on the riverbank from the time I get there until it's over.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I should ask some RV company to sponsor me and
There
let me sit on
you
the riverbank for
go.
3 days in an RV. And then every time we do a live, we can say, and I'm here because of such and such Alaska RV. Let me stay in their RV. Don't you think that'd be a good
Oh my
idea?
gosh, I have to tell you, I have had a lifelong dream of being able to stay in an RV. I still haven't been able to do that yet, and that would make me so happy to if we could do something like that. You and I could just hang out on the river full time, be right there when any little thing happens. I'm all for it. Maybe we
Right.
could
I would
see
love to
who would
do
love
that.
to sponsor that RV trip. And I mean, it's not really a trip. Who
Right.
wants to sponsor the RV on the
No.
riverbank?
Right. And I'm like, hey, it's not a busy time right now. So it's not like all their RVs are going to be in
Yep.
service. Right. And every picture that I could post that I possibly could, I would give them free advertising and be like, hey, come to Alaska this summer.
Seriously. Yep. And it is a possible. It is
So
a popular thing to drive around in an RV in the summer. We see so many of them, not only on the highway, but they come in
exactly.
through Nenana. We have an RV campsite here in Nenana. So just a shout out if anyone has had this itch to get up to Alaska, it's on their bucket list. That is a really fun way to do it. You can rent an RV and come through, stay a couple nights in Nenana at the RV park, and it's super, super fun. I mean, here's me saying it's super fun to stay in an RV when I've never done it, but let me tell you, my heart is calling me to do it, and I would love to.
Yeah. Well, Jerry said she would come up and camp out with me.
There
So
you go.
I wouldn't be lonely for sure.
Yep, yep. It would be super fun, and definitely could promote some tourism around here. Highlight the
Right.
highlight the RV companies who bring people up here to do their Alaskan bucket list trip.
Woohoo, Darren.
Yeah,
He stayed there in July.
awesome.
Nice. Wouldn't it be nice if you won? Woo, here's my tripod.
There you go. Yep.
You know what I think? This is what I think somebody in Nenana should do, whether it's the Ice Classic or Amy, you probably know somebody who knows how to paint. They should make a great big ticket and you can go have your picture taken like a
Oh,
selfie station, have your picture taken with a big ticket, you know?
that would be fun.
Anyway,
That would be so fun.
yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a group of
Anyway,
us that was just chatting, was it yesterday or the day before or something, how it would be really fun to have some selfie stations in Nenana, and you can maybe pick up a sheet at the visitor center telling you where all the selfie spots are, and you can go take your selfies, post them on social media, and tag Nenana. You could even tag the Nenana Ice Classic fan page, and we can highlight you. Anyone who makes it to Nenana, it would be super fun to give a shout out to. If
right?
yeah. So
I'll even do that all summer long. If people come and pose with the tripod, I'll post their picture. Why not?
yep,
I mean, you know what? I'm proud of the fact that I watch ice melt for fun.
yep. It just lights something in your soul that you can't explain.
Right. Well, what do you think, Amy? I'm sure you've got some other plans today. Are you ready to call it an hour or so and we'll see you back here in a little
Yeah,
while?
I think so. I do intend to come back here later today, so I think now's good, and we'll come back on the river. We'll
Okay.
also see if we can get that drone footage up and running. Like I said, we
Right on.
apologize yesterday. We had just some complications with getting it up, but now
You
we
know,
have new
it's
footage.
Nenana and drone files are so heavy. Like there's just so much
Yeah,
data that when you guys try to upload them there in Nenana, it just takes so
yeah,
long.
yeah. It can take like an hour
Ah,
sometimes, but
here we go. Barry says another selling point, the spectacular lemonade stand. So give them a shout out.
Yes. Just a fun fact, those are my nephews that do the lemonade stand, and it is so fun to watch them every year. They do a great job, and they are really turning into professionals. It's adorable. The oldest one is 12, and it goes all the way down to 3 years old. It's a group of 4 brothers and their little sister, and not only are they adorable, dressed up in their lemony snackets, hats and aprons, but the lemonade is good. Let me tell you, like, you have not had lemonade until you've had the lemony snackets lemonade. They do such an excellent job.
And where is that still up by the visitor center?
Yes, that's where the lemonade stand still is. They do have a second location that just opened up last summer right in front of the railroad depot. But yes,
That's awesome.
yeah, the lemonade snacket stand is still up right by the visitor center at the mouth of Nenana. So anyone who's planning a trip to Nenana this summer, make sure to hit that stand, because they're not only are they adorable, but the lemonade is next level.
Yeah. And what about the visitor center? Is Sam and Evelyn still doing that?
Yep. And it's their boys that are doing the lemonade stand right with the visitor center and Alaskan Gallery.
Right. So if you come to Nenana, stop at the visitor center, because it's more than just a visitor center. They take beautiful pictures and they have handmade stuff in there.
Yeah, it's all Alaskan-made gifts. They really they network with a lot of Alaskan artists throughout the state, and they've just got some really, really spectacular stuff in there. So, yep.
That's awesome. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on the river. I'll keep an eye on the webcam, and let me know when you'll come on again, and I'll join you.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you all for hopping on with us, and we'll see you in a few hours.
Bye.
Bye.